we're going to get back to your host.
Thank you and welcome to Plato's Cave on WZZR, coming to you from Australia and down under for Revolution Radio on revolution.radio, home to ideas that are ideas. Yay! Good ones, new ones, some hopefully, some. It's always a good day when you learn something new. Most importantly, though, well, not most, second most importantly, the station requires your help, meaning donations. It's supported by no one but you, so we can run without any agenda or the need to kowtow to anyone. So if you can donate, that would be great. Any currency is good, including crypto. It's all good. Or maybe you can't donate. That's okay, because I tell you what, the cost of living is killing us. It really is. It's I filled up my tank. $2.60 a liter. $2.60 for a liter. That's
Good grief.
That's a quarter quart for you Americans out there. Yeah, $2.60. What?
I heard it was going up today, but I didn't think it was that much.
That's insane. Anyway, David was just nuts. So donate if you can, please do. But if you can't, tell people about the station, right? Like I said, life is tough all over. And if you tell people, maybe one of those people can donate. Today is the 5th of March, believe it or not, 2024. You can catch the cave on the air, on the line, all the time, and on your smart device. And it's getting smarter than you are, that's for sure. So grab it up to listen anywhere, or listen at home on the Grace Table of Digital Radio. I'm just waiting for the day, as Dave knows, and he's actually shown me that 12th episode where appliances start talking back to us. I want to toast something. What can I toast? Let me toast something.
Doodly do.
Indeed.
I'm talky.
But you know what's cool? I'll tell you what's cool. The archives are still free. So go in there and get some content, whatever you like. I've been content hunting myself all over. And now, before we start broadcasting at you, Enga, we would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land from which we broadcast. And for Dave,
it's the Bundjalung.
Thank you, sir. And for myself, it's the Darak people, and we would like to pay our respects to elders, past, present, and future. Just on welcoming to country, there was a council or local government zone in Sydney that have done away with the mentioning of the traditional custodians in welcoming to country, which sort of becomes pointless. It's like, what are you doing then? It's like, if you're not mentioning the native and custodians, then what are you doing? What is it that you're saying? And I don't know what they're saying, but I heard that they've done away with it. So that's just odd. But hey, people are odd, right, Dave? Come on, tell me they're not odd. Tell me.
I can't.
I can't do it. Can't be done. Okay, so this is what I learned this week. I was listening to the news, all kinds of channels, etc., and I learned, and this is perfect because it is so cave wall shadows. It's not funny. There was an Israeli spokesman, and that person said, "Oh yeah, no, we've started airdropping supplies together with our allies, the Germans, the French, and lastly, at the end, mentioning the U.S. into Gaza. We are doing that." No, you're not. But hey, why don't you take credit for it? That's a good idea. I was going, what? Really? Wow. Okay, that's a new one. Anyway, doesn't matter. Suffice to say that Israel is progressing well towards depopulating Gaza. That is coming along nicely. There will be no ceasefire by Ramadan. I can tell you that right now. It's not going to happen because the people negotiating the ceasefire include everybody but Israel. That's right.
That's right.
It's like, what? It's like going to a soccer game and you're playing the referee. That's what this is. No, what? It's completely pointless. But hey, whatever. It's okay. It's okay. It's I can't help myself. I did. I felt moved, Dave. I mean, you probably saw my post. I felt moved to explain to people what it means when people like you and I say do your own research. I want to.
Oh, I love that. That was great. Yeah.
Because it's important. Because people think, oh, we'll just Wikipedia everything. So Dave and I don't just use Wikipedia. We use Wikipedia, but usually Wikipedia is the stuff that we start with, the official the stance. Because I think it's good for that. It'll give you the official version of most anything, as inaccurate as it might be, but that's usually consensus. It's so hard to edit
consensus.
Wikipedia.
That's funny.
I know, right? But I've tried to.
You mean the two people that wrote it that wouldn't let any other changes occur?
Pretty much, and that's what because I've tried. I know you have tried.
Yeah, I've tried.
My changes, minor though they were completely, well, not ignored, just rejected. I guess that counts for something.
Mine
right?
was the spelling of my ex-wife's name, and I sent them a picture of the marriage certificate. It's the same person. This is how they spell it.
More fool you.
Hilarious. No. You're not an authority.
Wrong. But it's my life. No. Yeah. Show us your credentials. Where's your peer-reviewed publication? So I want to share with you what I wrote. And this is what I wrote. Oh, and another thing, because I wrote something else before that. When I say do your own research, I mean it. But what does that mean? So it means you need to go to primary sources, ideally, even talk to people, and God forbid, read a book or two. For me, it means I spent a lot of time on the FOIA sites, for instance, the CIA, FBI, CIA, right? If you don't know them, look them up. Sometimes there's gold, right? There really is, but you really have to look. I also spend a lot of time on university sites, especially sites that have translated Sumerian cuneiform texts. It pays to compare translations. It also means I read a lot of newspapers in both English and German, as well as speak to my contacts across the world. It also means interviewing other authors and researchers on our radio show. And of course, I'm referring to the Shiny Side Out.
That's right, take that. People without a radio show.
Take in as many sources as you can, and don't just go to Wikipedia. So that's what it means when I say do your own research. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I hope it does. Because a lot of people say, oh, what does it even mean? You just go to Wikipedia, right? No, not really. I mean, we have taken entire translations of primary sources and read them and then compared them and shown them to you guys, right? And we try to talk to people if we can, but we try to also go to primary sources. We try to find the article on whatever, a story is based on the original, ideally, right? But bear in mind, there's the Shiny Side Out and Plato's Cave are made up of Dave and Mackie.
That's it.
Okay.
And all our extensive, and mind you, I'm not cutting corners here when I say research team that also consists of only Dave and Mackie.
That's it. And now I love the Y files. I just want
to
say this here. I think the Y files are really great. And then I did a bit of research into the Y files, believe it or not. Right now they've got 2 or 3 openings for research assistants and I think an editor as well. But bear in mind that the Y files have a whole editorial staff behind them. And they bring out 1 video a week, which I think it's 1 video a week, which is great. It's about an hour, 45 minutes or so, but it's really well done. Now, that's what you can do when you've got a week to do it, and you've got a staff of people that do it with you. That's what you can do.
There's camera, lighting, script. The script also is pre-read on Discord live, and they make edits as they go.
Correct.
You didn't know that, right?
Of course, Hecklefish.
Hecklefish is gorgeous.
is there, and the editing, of course, is phenomenal, right?
Lighting guys, sound.
And they're sponsored. They get sponsorship. That's okay. I think why not? We'll take sponsorship. But the point is, in order to produce something like that, which I really admire, you do need a staff, and you need to have fairly significant resources at your disposal to actually do that. So just putting it out there, right? But these shows here, for the last 12 years, 13 years, that's just Dave and Mackie. That's it. That's the raw, definitely raw.
That's us.
That's what you're getting. But I think we've done well, Dave. I think we've done well. We've spoken to an amazing array of people. We've had some epiphanies along the way.
Mm-hmm.
We've made some calls, and lo and behold, they turned out to be correct.
That's true.
So there's a whole bunch of stuff that you can do with just two people. So you can never say, "Oh, I can't do anything." That's really the point. Sorry, I should have made that point earlier. But the point I'm trying to make is there's no excuse for anyone not to do anything, right? Of course, there's luck involved and all that, but ultimately, I mean, if Dave and I can do this, there's no reason why you can't do something as well out there in the world, right? Put your thoughts out there. Become part of the conversation, right? And just contribute if you can, if you want to, right? If that's your thing. If you've been procrastinating, maybe you're thinking about it. Maybe you have escaped the cave. You understand, in fact, what's going on, but you maybe you're as frustrated as Dave and I were. Nobody really wants to listen. I mean, when they do want to listen, it's more like a tourist or like an entertainment for a little while. Oh, what's your latest crazy conspiracy theory, Mackie? Come on, Dave, how many aliens? How many aliens on the head of a needle? On a pinhead? 50 aliens on a pinhead. No. Actually 52. But the what? But the point is that if you do want to, you can certainly do something, because we're living in a time where technology is actually helping us. It's here. It's tangible. Things can happen. I mean, even if you don't want to talk, which is cool, you can write. I mean, I have a page on WordPress, for example, right? I also publish some stuff on LinkedIn. That's probably more work-related, but nonetheless, there it is. I'm writing an article on LinkedIn, Dave, right now, which I haven't finished it yet, but I've entitled it, "Who Cleans Your Toilet?" Now you might ask yourself, well, what does that mean? Well, I've interviewed hundreds of people in my career, hundreds, maybe more. And they're always stock standard questions, but I found you can't trust a resume, and you can't really trust a person in an interview either. Everybody wants to get the job, right? They'll tell you whatever you want to hear. Okay, what's your greatest fault? I worked too hard. Oh, yes, of course. That's yeah, I understand. Why do you want to join our company? Oh, I love your vision, and I just like where you guys are going. Yeah. Okay.
I think I've got a sensor. You too, no doubt, of how much smoke is being blown up one's butt.
Uh-huh.
No, you and I must have that sensor.
Oh yeah.
But
oh yeah.
Wow.
100%. But
yeah,
if you ask someone in the interview, who cleans your toilet? You go, what?
Yeah, please explain, Mackie.
Who cleans your toilet? I'm just because that will tell you a lot about the person. A cleaning lady, my wife, my mother, my brother, my cat, whoever, right? So you don't clean your own toilet? No. Okay, is there a reason for that? No, it's just a waste of time. Okay, so you don't like a clean toilet? No, I do like a clean toilet, but you don't think you should clean it yourself? No, that's just it's a waste of my time. There's some jobs in life, some tasks that are absolutely essential for the continued existence of civilization. Cleaning toilets is one of them, right? Now, I'm only taking cleaning toilets as an example. You could be cleaning your floors, but cleaning toilets is usually the one that lets me see right into someone's soul.
Wow, that's a good
Because
question.
it is, because the answer will reveal everything you need to know about that person. Okay? Because they will not have prepared for for that question. So what?
Mickey, it doesn't. Imagine you ask me in an interview, and I just freeze like a deer in headlights, and you go, "Good. Well, what's the answer?" It doesn't say anything about that on your website.
Are we cleaning toilets now? Is that the job? Because if a person cleans their own toilet,
Mm-hmm.
it gives you a sense of who they really are. Someone who doesn't shy away from the dirty work, from the essential dirty work, from the tasks that we all rather wouldn't do. And I don't particularly enjoy cleaning my toilet, but I do clean my toilet, as it were, myself. I don't have a cleaning lady.
Yeah, and I do the toilets at our house.
Yeah. And it's necessary. It has to be done. In fact, look, I mean, you need to clean your whole house, but you definitely, absolutely must do a good job cleaning your toilet, and the entire bathroom for that matter. But see, and a lot of people, especially for jobs that I interview, for like when I interview people for it, rather, they feel entitled. Right? I make a certain kind of money, a certain amount. Why would I clean my toilet? What are you talking about? That's beneath me. It's like in the olden days, or maybe even today in England. Upstairs, downstairs. You have the servants living downstairs, and then the masters and mistresses of the house would live upstairs and have all these important conversations in the drawing room while smoking pipes and drinking sherry. Working out the fate of the world, while there was a staff of 20 or 30 making sure the house didn't fall down.
And outside, people are starving, right?
That's what happens. But it's that kind of attitude to that's for the lower people. In fact, in India, and I'm not picking on India. I'm sure it's similar in other countries, but in India it's institutionalized. People that do that kind of work, the dirty work, like garbage collecting and toilet cleaning and things like that, they are untouchables. You can't touch them. Right? You can't touch them. They're lowest caste, and even though the work is essential, they're seen as the lowest of the low. Right? And that's it's a shame, but that's how it works. I hope that there will be a reformation at some point. And it's not just India where it is. India is just institutionalized. That's all. It's just the caste system is quite strong.
So Mackie, my take on that is, as the result of them answering that they don't clean their own toilets or wiggle around, attempting to come up with an excuse of why they don't do it. I would never follow into battle someone who wasn't willing to battle. So my take is that I wouldn't ask someone to do something that I wouldn't do. And if I'm immediately just asking someone to do something that I'm not going to do, even if I pay them, right? Why am I doing that? And that's the first thing I ask. That's how I come to the conclusion that a born leader people will just want to follow. They'll want to do the things that they do. And if you're just sipping Sancerre in the hill, watching 1,000 people battle another 1,000 people, and the results you don't care about, what kind of leader is that? Someone just trying to make a name for themselves and nothing else. Who's it for? It's only for themselves.
That's exactly right. And unfortunately, today, that is considered leadership, or we think, at least, that is leadership. So that kind of leadership that you just described is thriving. It is the same kind of leadership that the Roman Empire, it didn't encourage, but I guess fostered. So back in the Roman Empire days, you will understand why I'm going there in a second. People would be appointed governors of provinces. So everything was a province. Once you conquer it, it becomes a province. They send the Roman governor there. The Roman governor was there, I think, for 3 years. That was the tenure. In that 3 years, the governor of that province had the only 3 years he had to make as much money of the province as he could. So he would collect taxes for Rome, right? And at the same time he would collect money for himself. So some money would get to Rome and taxes, the other money he would keep. But the point is, it was all about the governor. Yes, he would send the taxes to Rome, but he would keep a big chunk for himself because he knows he's only got 3 years to make as much money as he could. And then he wouldn't get another governorship. I mean, he may, but it was unlikely. These days, though, I mean, the CEOs, think of them as governors, if you will, have 2 or 3 years to make as much money as they can for themselves. Longer-term CEOs are not the norm. They're extremely rare in a global context. We have had them in Australia, certainly on Telstra and other places, but it's unusual. Qantas, that was the longest serving one here that we've ever had. But that's unusual, like I said. Unless you're the founder of the company, and even then, you bring in other CEOs. But so these CEOs, these leaders, Dave, they only have a limited time to make as much money as they can.
Yeah.
There was a movie called Fun with Dick and Jane.
I remember that.
Yeah, it's hilarious. This is, and the CEO of that company embezzled and took the pension fund of his employees, and off he went. And the movie essentially was Jim Carrey trying to, I guess, get his life back because he was an employee of the company as well as then getting the money back off the fraudulent CEO. And look, are all CEOs like that? No, probably not. But I guarantee you, they're not getting into that kind of business for the humanity of it all.
Okay? Sorry, I laughed out loud then. The IT crowd, Mackie, Wenham Industries, the first CEO, when they're interrupting, so a person comes in to interrupt the board meeting on the top floor. The police are downstairs, so they're interested in talking with you. About what? About the pension fund. And he just walks to the window, opens, and jumps to his death. It's gold.
But that's what it is. That's where we are. I mean, you can stand on your head and laugh, but that's you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We watch these are meant to be satirical parodies, right?
Oh,
but ever
yes, Prime Minister.
Yeah, yes, Prime Minister. But ever since, I guess
was it
started there, but the Hollow Man,
yes.
that was brilliant.
God. They were writing policy as the Prime Minister was speaking on the television.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, is that what we're doing? Yeah. But ever since George Bush Jr., it has become really hard to parody politicians.
Yeah.
Because you can't write copy like that. I mean, reality sort of, I don't know, overtook in a way, outdistanced the comic writers. I mean, some of the things that these people have been saying ever since, and he was gold, but he wasn't the only one, not by a long shot.
No.
You'd think, wow, that's it's just astounding. It's just, I don't know. I look at it and I go, these people have actually said these things. They've actually said it. It boggles the mind.
My favorite is when Reagan was farewelling the troops on the deck of the carrier.
Oh yeah.
He commenced and read through and finished word for word the lines from the movie he was in, where he was farewelling the troops, word for word.
if it ain't broken, don't fix it.
I
What?
don't have anything bad to say about Reagan because he was the one who, I'm not talking about Reaganomics, but he was the one, despite just being an actor, good for him. That's why The Rock for president, right? I think that he sold the core of those words really well, and everyone, until they found out that, hey, isn't that just from the movie, right? Yeah, it was, and they were his lines. They're crazy. So
you learned it once,
yeah, it's in there. It's packed away, ready to be used whenever it, just like me and the Simpsons. Yes, I can't help it. Having seen it for so long, all those words are in there. They're just ready to come out. So Reagan brought the Cold War to an end. So you have to admit that to yourself. It might not be easy, but that's how that happened. And he almost told us that aliens are real. He used the argument, sure, it was to argue for expenditure in space in the Star Wars program, but he kept using that same example. What if the threat wasn't you and I? Maybe it was from outside of this world. We'd have to get together.
Right. That's right. So, and look at this.
At that time in the world, we were still being mocked if you believed that aliens were real. But he was the one bringing it out. I'm sure that he was ready in, and he just could not help himself.
Oh look, but he had he wasn't a dyed-in-the-wool atheist scientist. He actually had an astrologer as well, that his wife brought him, I think, Nancy.
Mm-hmm.
So Nancy. he had a spiritual leaning on him, and look, maybe he would have given us disclosure. Maybe if they would have let him. And again, it's I know it sounds like crazy stuff. They, them. You need to disabuse yourself of all illusions you might have, around the actual nature of reality. There is such a thing as they.
Actually, Becky, as you said that, I think I did it. It's remarkably easy if you just try.
Nice. There is a hidden hand, right? And you hear it everywhere. I've watched a lot of documentaries over the last few weeks, a lot, and even in some of the books and magazines I read. But the documentaries are best because you get people on camera saying things,
mm-hmm.
admitting things that they might not. Because once people are
disclose,
see, the thing is, once people start talking and they're comfortable,
mm-hmm.
and that's the greatest gift of a good interviewer, right? Is to make people comfortable, right? That's really the gift that a great interviewer has. And then they just start talking, and some things slip. It's astounding how many things slipped and came out, and some things that were said, and there were deathbed confessions as well, of course. The world that we think is around us, I'm afraid that those are the shadows on the wall. Okay, and it goes much deeper, and we're only scratching it. Once in a while, it intrudes on us. It sort of disturbs us in our slumber when things like missing persons pop up that are inexplicable. Why did they disappear? Where'd they go? How come there's no trace? I mean, not a trace. And then other weirdness gets in there, right? I mean, what happened there? Or it's just strange events happen, or you misremember something. And I'm pretty sure it was like this. Of course, self-censorship then goes along and says, oh, no, you just misremembered. Right? And maybe you didn't. That's really the kicker here, right? Maybe you didn't misremember. Maybe it was actually different before. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Right? You know. Well, you should know, right? Again, I've had things happen to me and I've shared them with you, and Dave has as well, where you can absolutely 100% positively say, I have no explanation for this. I didn't misremember, right? I have no explanation, and I have no reason to lie to any of you. Again, like I said, this is not making us any money, so it's not like we're sensationalizing anything, because it's not necessary. The truth, Dave, is a lot stranger than any script, as George Bush Jr. showed us when he started talking.
Just remember, the French don't have a word for entrepreneur.
He went to Brazil. This is true.
That statement's from the calendar of his Bushisms.
No,
yeah.
I know,
just for the
he
audience.
went
Like, I know you knew it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, but another thing he said was he went to Brazil and he saw Africans or people of African heritage, and he goes, "Oh, you have Africans here too." to the Brazilian president. Yeah, no, we yeah. Oh, wow. How about them apples? It's like, yeah, it was a foreign policy whiz, that one. But yes,
astounding, isn't it?
It is. And recently, I explained to my daughter as I was driving her to school why I spend so much time talking about America. Because sometimes she can hear me. She's in the next room sleeping with her sister, and there's a thick bookcase between us, but they insist they can hear me. Sure. And I said to her, look, because America is such a powerful nation still today, militarily, but also economically, right? And it has reach. It matters what happens in America.
That's right.
More than any other country in the world. It really matters. China is becoming that way, right? Russia or the USSR used to be much more, consequential for the rest of the world, but the United States absolutely has a massive impact on anything.
And India's doing great guns.
No, that's right. So I mean, other nations come up, others, go down. I mean, Great Britain was important. Now, not so much. But America, and it matters who is going to win the next election. It actually matters because the people most likely running for it have got very different ideas on how to engage with the world or run the country, right? So it is important. And okay, she's fair enough. That's why we spend a lot of time on the show as well. I mean, of course, look, Revolution Radio was founded and is run out of the States largely, with a lot of UK staff help these days. But that's not the only reason. And a big chunk of our listenership is also in the United States. But again, not the reason only. Because, again, what happens in America is important all over the world. It really is. Look at the brands America has given us. And I have to say them because you will immediately know what I'm talking about. No other nation on the planet, with maybe the exception of maybe Germany, maybe France, have produced brands that are that recognizable, like Coca-Cola, McDonald's, right? Pepsi, Apple, Google. These are Cisco. I mean, you might not be in IT, but you will have heard the word Cisco. It might not mean anything. IBM. Right? So all of these terms, these are American brands. And again, like when I say Germany and France, maybe champagne, right? That's actually now a recognized brand of drink that can only be called that when it was made in Champagne, in the region of France.
That's right,
Champagne region. Or if I say Mercedes-Benz or BMW, right? You've
That's
got
correct.
a certain image, right? But there are not that many. The Japanese have contributed a few, like Toyota, etc., right? But overall, America has created most of the biggest brands that we all instantaneously recognize. Right? So we can't underestimate the impact on the global culture. So it does matter, and that's why we talk about it. In contrast, it doesn't matter at all who gets elected in Australia, because they can be out of the air, within months, because we don't elect a person we elect a party, and the party goes, "Oh, I don't like you anymore," and I put someone else. And it's like, for the longest time, it was like a revolving door. It was embarrassing to have that many prime ministers come and go.
Do you know what? I saw an interview in US television broadcasting region only where Malcolm Turnbull was being interviewed as the Prime Minister for a, I think, 4-year period. And they're reading his qualifications into this news show. And, he was Prime Minister from this year to this year. And I'm going, wait a minute. Wasn't he, not? Because didn't he get ousted? I thought he was toppled and wasn't the Prime Minister. I thought he led the Liberal Party. So, but not in power. Is that right?
Malcolm Turnbull?
Yes.
He was Prime Minister, and he was ousted.
Yes.
And Scott Morrison took over.
Of course.
At that time.
Of course.
But he actually supported Dutton. Turnbull did, right?
Yeah.
But Morrison got it over Dutton at that point.
But when they read the time period, it was like for the entire time the party was in, and it wasn't.
No.
And he took it. He took that credit. Yeah, it's American television. What are they going to know, right?
That's stupid. Take all the credit I can. What are you talking about? Are you crazy?
I'm looking for that diplomatic posting somewhere.
You know it. You know it, and your little boy know it, and I'll get them, I will. What? It's a bit scary now. But yeah, it's, oh, brother. But yeah, it's a thing. We were.
I just had to laugh. I had to laugh, Mackie. That's what I mean, because I was shocked that he took it without correcting them.
Oh,
because he's got a sharp tongue.
Yeah.
And he's
so
smart,
you invented the radio. Yeah. That's right. I invented the radio.
Huh.
What are you saying? I did. What are you saying?
According to your resume, Marge, you invented this machine.
Oh, that's gold. But yeah, so that's where we are, right? And that's why it's important to keep an eye on what's happening there in your neck of the woods, America. It is important. It's, I wish it wasn't. And I mean this because right now, what is the what kind of choice have you given us here? Seriously. It's like
choice. See, there you go again.
Choice. It's not choice. Crazy people.
$2.60 a litre. Goodness.
There's that.
Someone's going to pay for those tax cuts.
It's you and me, Dave. It's just going to be you and me. So that's where we are, though, right? And what happens in November is going to be critically important to the whole world, right?
Did you see that the Supreme Court said to the state trying to delete Trump's name off the ballot?
Oh yeah, they're allowed to, yeah.
Because of January 6th, they're going, you can't do that. No, it's a federal thing. You can't change the ballot.
Yeah. Correct.
Good luck with that. Weasel words to try and excuse yourselves from doing it. But hey, wait a minute. No, you can't.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised, to be honest, because it is a federal matter, right? As opposed to a state matter. If it was a state election, they can do whatever they want, obviously, right? Fair enough too. But because it is a federal election, Right. Yeah, well, no, we're going to put anyone we want on the ballot here, Frederick. Thank you very much. And you've got no say about how you like that. I don't like it very much at all.
Did you see that the lady won some district, won a state?
Yeah.
It's like, why? Why are you
So,
still running? You're not going to get on it.
look, this is the thing. Donald Trump is making a few mistakes, right? And the mistake he's making is he's alienating some of the Republicans by saying, "Oh, I don't know. If you don't vote for me, then you're a moron. You shouldn't. I don't want you.
Yeah,
I don't want
that's right.
you." And if there's one thing the Americans don't like is being told something like that, in my opinion, or in my experience, in fact. So he's maybe he's a little bit too cocky, a little bit too,
I think he had
too sure.
72%.
Yeah,
of,
but again, it only
maybe
matters
that's
on the
doing it.
night.
Yeah, that's right.
So and I mean, look, last time it was very close. It was very close, and if she decides to run independently,
Yeah, that's right.
drain away some of the Republican votes, right?
It
Then
could
that could
tip
really
the
hurt.
balance in favour of anyone on the Democrat side.
Yeah. Because there's going to be a huge chunk of people, two chunks. One chunk will be anyone but Biden, right?
That's right.
Another chunk will be anyone but Trump, and then you'll have Trump voters as well.
That's exactly. Did you
Those are
see?
the chunks.
I was watching the news today, and I saw that they were talking about Biden, the polls for Biden being too old, and there was an overwhelming amount of people who were saying that he shouldn't run again.
Right.
And it's left the Democrats scrambling, looking for, like, obviously they've been talking about this the whole time, but I think the poll is really just, the last nail in the coffin. And they're trying to find someone who can replace him, who is still likable enough to win the anyone but Trump vote. Because if you've got anyone but Trump ready, like the voter, anyone but Trump, it says Trump on one side, and on the other side it said Kamala Harris. It does not compute.
Not really.
It's really going to hurt. So if they can find someone more delightful.
More delightful.
That's the best way of putting it.
No, I like it.
Who even listens to policy anymore? I mean,
what is the policy?
Yeah, policy, smallishy, right? I can't see anyone in the southern states voting for anyone but Trump, because I think Trump's the only one who's going to fix the border problem. There's ample opportunity to fix the border, and by the Democrats who are currently in power that can do something about it. And I think that if I had to make a call, there's got to be something suspicious about them letting, those people through the border. There's got to be something there.
But I do believe that very thing is an issue that the Democrats, in my opinion, underestimate. The border issue. I think that's something they completely misunderstand. I don't think they get it.
Well, they've talked it down so much. There is no problem at the border. Remember?
Yeah.
Have you been to the border?
Yeah.
We've been to the border.
We know there is a border. Okay? There it is. Okay? Are you stupid? How do you see the border? What's wrong with you?
But have you been to it? Oh, we've been to the border.
You're not listening to me.
I don't understand the question.
There is a border, and it's separating two countries. That's what borders are there for, you see? Borders are there denoting the national line between two nation states. You see, I know all about the border, okay? I don't have to go there. We have been there, okay? But so people have been near the border. That's what happens. It's like,
well, all of those people are at the border. They've all been there.
It's just nuts.
It certainly wouldn't happen here, because we now ship everybody that we that either lands on our soil or is about to land on our soil, we ship them to a foreign country that's outside of Australian jurisdiction. So they can't be processed by Australian law, and they sit in holding cells until we work out where they come from, and then we take them back to their country again.
Yes. And I think
I'm not saying it's right.
Trying it on for size. No, I'm here. But the British are trying
I'm
it on.
not saying it's right. But it's...
I'm not saying it's wrong either. What?
So all of those people, so on both sides of politics here, came to an agreement that that's probably the best way to go. And all the lawyers who could have earned money from defending the person's stay can't anymore. And they're the ones who complain mostly about this policy being too harsh. So, what do you want? If we set up a system in where people need to apply, and you only take certain, like you filter. It's a filter, the application process. Let's not kid ourselves. It's a filter to say who we want and who we don't want. And I still say that I believe that the UN, you should apply to the UN and they should divvy those people out evenly amongst all of the member countries. Let's see how many people still stay in the UN.
Yeah.
If you're getting, per capita, evenly spread people looking for asylum. That's just that would change the game.
I agree.
Because the UN's toothless. They can't do anything about anything. It's all talk. And even the people who are committing atrocities are in the UN themselves, hearing the people complain about their actions, doing nothing.
Stop killing us. No, we'll vote against
Not
that.
really.
What? That's not what I signed up for.
I'm
It
giving
is
you money
hilarious
for
though.
this.
But see, you get to vote. I mean, if Russia is a permanent member of the Security Council, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the UN votes to stop all aggression in Ukraine. And Russia goes, yeah, no.
Not so much.
Okay, thank you for coming, though.
Oh, actually, no. They'd say niet.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what they say.
Niet.
Oh, that's gold. But what do you do? Well, it's like it's so farcical that you would think if you wrote a script, about something. Oh, hey, let's write a TV show about it. How are we gonna call it? United Nations. Oh, that sounds great. Yeah. But they can't do anything about anything, and because there are these people there and they vote against everything that would mean anything, and they haven't got a standing force, so they can't actually enforce anything. But they do have a lot of institutions, and it's like a feeding trough for politicians. I mean, if you're out of politics, you just go to the UN. They'll pay you away forever.
I love this show. I love the show already. Yeah.
Right? You do nothing. Oh, you do nothing now? It's a show about nothing. Just like Seinfeld. It's a show about
Seinfeld.
nothing.
Is Jerry signed up to this yet?
Yeah. Well, we're trying to get him. We've got a truck full of money
George?
going to his house right now. Yeah, George signed up for half the money we offered him. It's like, he's a smart guy. No, but that's where we are, though, right? It boggles the mind. It really does when you look at it, because it was meant to be this new beginning after World War II, this institution that brings us all together. Wonderful, la la la, and it has no power at all. The only time it can actually do something is if the big powers say, yeah, you can do it, like when they brought Slobodan Milosevic, remember, into The Hague, the International Court of Justice. Yeah, but I mean, okay, but that's because the Americans wanted him tried, so there he is. But the Americans don't want the Israelis to stop anything. I mean, the UN has passed countless resolutions about the Israelis having to move out of the occupied territories. Okay, illegal settlements, etc. Completely ignored by everybody. We don't care. Blah 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 blah. Right? Saudi Arabia has never been indicted for anything. They're stoning people to death there. You know that, right? They
Yeah.
actually stone people to death for adultery in Saudi Arabia. Oh, that's okay. That's okay. There's no human rights violations there. It's okay. What? I'm constantly blown away by, again, the puppet show, and we all just lap it up. Dave, we love it. Tell me more lies. I want to know all the lies. Just oh yeah. Oh, that's. I'm ready for my lobotomy. Let's just do it.
It's like a soap opera, Maggie, because, you know, I can't believe that we allow all the countries of the world to do the things they do, and no one cares. It's like you're on Valium watching Days of Our Lives. I'm not putting down Days of Our Lives. It's there for a reason, for all those people who are
got
on
its
Valium.
place. Yes, that's right.
Who can't control their own lives, so they watch something that, you know, that interests them, that provides that. It's like my cat looking out the window. That's what it is, staring into nothing. I don't know what it's looking at. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, no. I hear. They just, the TV washes over them like so many waves in an ocean. Yeah.
That's what I see us doing when we watch the news with international stories, where we really should be doing something about it, but no, there's nothing at all. Preposterous that we should allow that. Like, if there isn't a world force that stops it. Imagine being in the most disruptive classroom at any school. Just think it.
Yeah.
School X, you're in the class, all the other classmates are countries, and some of them are being, you know, right disruptive. And really what you want is for that class to be successful. Everyone to learn. But, you know, there's someone making spitballs, someone's belting someone, you know, on the ground, and they're all bloodied up. That's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing this, and no one's doing anything. It does my mind.
They clearly they deserve it. Dave.
Well, you know, this is that thing, Mackie. Are you going to walk by, or are you going to step in and stop it?
See, again, right? And before I had a family, I know what I would do. I know. It's just now with the family,
not so much.
Dave, I tell you, not likely, right?
I hear you.
I mean, if things got to the point where you had to take action, fair enough, right? I mean, if it gets to that point, then you have no choice. But putting my family willingly into harm's way, forget about it. That's never going to happen. That's never going to happen. But you know, I mean, look, Navalny, and I really have a lot of respect for him. You know why? Because he knew what Putin was doing. He could see all the others die, right? He saw them.
Mm-hmm.
And he went back anyway. He said, "I can't affect change from exile." He would have been safe, well, ish.
Ish. Yeah, that's right.
You know, but he said, "No, you know what? I got to go back," and he didn't, and consequently, he was killed. He was killed. I'm as sure that he was killed as I'm also as sure as I'm about Epstein not committing suicide. There are two things I'm sure about.
And that was the plan, wasn't it?
You know, and but that takes a lot. But he did make sure that his family was not in Russia. So his family is not in Russia, and as far as I know, I think that they're safe-ish. But it takes a lot. Think about it. Would you? I don't know, man.
I know that in Australia they're openly discussing, you know, protecting your family with an intruder, and suggesting that you're entitled to defend yourself. That's a big change in our discussions.
Yes.
So I wonder if we're finally growing.
You can always hope. Always have that. can always hope that there are changes, right? I mean, let me put it this way to you. I know it's almost closing time. Why do this? What are we doing here, you and me, Dave? Right? If we didn't think that change was possible, if we didn't think that what we do actually could add a modicum of good to the world, what's the point otherwise?
Good question to end it. There's the music, Maggie.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for allowing us into your homes for just a brief hour. This has been Plato's Cave. Stick around. Pretty sure something awesome is going to come up. But most of all, be safe.